Welcome back to week 5 of our series, Decisions That Heal. Today we're going to be discussing the decision to renounce or the decision to quit. Matthew 19:21 says, Jesus answered, "If you want to be perfect, go, sell your possessions and give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. Then come, follow me." When the young man heard this, he went away sad because he had great wealth. In this story, a very wealthy young man comes up to Jesus and says, "I want to follow you. What do I have to do that?" And Jesus says, "Follow my commandments." And the young man says, "I've already done that. What else is there?" And Jesus tells him, "Give up all your possessions, sell all your possessions and follow me." And the young man goes away sad. This doesn't mean that Jesus is asking us, sell your AirPods, sell your phone, sell your car, sell your house, quit your job to start to follow him. What Jesus was trying to tell the young man was that he had an idol. He was trying to make him aware that he had an idol. And he wanted to follow God, but he had an idol. So the first thing we have to do is identify what idols we have in our lives that we need to renounce. To renounce means to take out of our lives. If you Google the word renounce, you'll see that the definition is to reject or to stop using or to stop doing. The idol of this young man was money, material possessions. He preferred money over anything and everything. Money was his God. And God says that we cannot have any other gods before him. He is the one true and living God. And these are the things that we need to remove from our lives, the things that take the position of God in our life. That takes making a decision. The word decision has that suffix word scission, and that means to cut out or the process of cutting. And there are things in our lives that we need to cut in order to fulfill God's purpose for our life, in order to continue to grow in relationship with God. So we have to analyze ourselves to see if we have any idols in our lives. Maybe your idol is your job. Maybe it's a person. Maybe it's a relationship that you need to renounce because it's holding you back. There are a lot of things that we need to renounce in our lives. So we need to check ourselves. Check yourself. Tell the person next to you, check yourself. The young man didn't want to renounce. And if there's something that is blocking or stopping the progress in your life, we need to cut that. You need to cut that. What is robbing you of your joy? What sin is stopping your growth? What is that thing that hinders you? The word says in Hebrews 12:1, let us throw off everything that hinders and that sin that so easily entangles. What entanglement are you in? To throw off is to renounce. So is there something in your life that shouldn't be there? Or someone in your life that shouldn't be there? It's time to renounce those things. It's time to renounce those relationships. It's time to renounce. It's time to quit. It's time to throw off. It's time to cut off. For God, obedience is more important than anything else. There is a saying that we mention often, and it's, we don't need to understand God in order to obey him. We obey him whether we understand or not. We need to renounce our idols to be the best versions of ourselves, and that is for us and for the people around us and for our future generations. Obey and trust in God. This wealthy young man didn't even know that if he renounced his possessions, that he would inherit a kingdom. The disciples later on in this story tell Jesus, we've given up everything to follow you. We've given up our businesses. We've given everything. What do we get in return? And Jesus says, whatever you have given up for the Lord, you will receive it back 100 times more. So imagine if this wealthy young man who had wealth, who had possessions, had sacrificed and renounced his possessions, God would have returned it to him 100 times more. God isn't interested in your stuff. He's not interested in your material possessions. He's the owner of everything. He doesn't need anything. What God is interested in is your heart, and what he's interested in is your obedience. Are you willing to renounce in order to love him? Are you willing to renounce in order to follow him? Renounce, throw off, quit, give control to God and obey God out of love for him. Tell God, I don't know where I'm going, but I'll let you take the lead. Take control, guide me, take the wheel. I'll do whatever you say. I'll go wherever you tell me to go. And that is a sign of maturity in our Christian walk, in our relationship with God. It's edifying to our character. Jesus said, you'll know the truth and the truth will set you free. That means you need to recognize the truth that you do have an idol, the truth that you do need to renounce something, and then make the decision to renounce so that you can break those chains and those curses over your life. We call it self-liberation. First, you recognize the sin or the bad thought or the bad consistent action that you're doing, and you renounce it. It could be alcohol, it could be drugs, it could be pornography, it could be unforgiveness, it could be bitterness, self-loathing, or anything that is stopping your growth is something you have to renounce in order to be set free. There is spiritual freedom in that. And the devil won't be able to control you anymore because you'll be set free. Anything negative that isn't from God won't be able to control you anymore because you have decided to renounce it. When you renounce, you will also receive a peace from God, a supernatural peace that surpasses all understanding. And when we choose to renounce, to serve God and to follow him and to obey him, there is that peace that comes. That means even when you don't understand exactly what's going on, you're going to feel an internal peace. So decide today to renounce any idol, any sin, anything that is hindering your joy, your peace, and most of all, hindering your relationship with God. And if you're just starting out in this journey, you're in the right place. Start by renouncing all the negative things in your life, all the negative actions, the negative thoughts, and allow your relationship with God to grow on a deeper level. And so in a few moments, some questions are going to pop up on the screen for you to discuss with your life group about the decision to renounce. Decide to quit, decide to cut off, decide to renounce.